Welcome to another video here on the Sacred Symbols Cardology channel with me, Helmar Rudolph, and I've got a lovely new guest here with me today, and it's the dear friend of mine, Tanja Rousalis from Cape Town, South Africa. Hello, Tanja. Welcome to our little show.
Thank you, Helmar. It's such a pleasure to be here and to dive a little bit deeper into Cardology.
I love it because you don't know, but sort of Tanja and I know. We have decided to do this series to bring cardology closer to the masses and have a setup where really basic questions can be asked. You've probably watched a couple of live streams that I had with Karen Chabot, and Karen, being a four of hearts, having all her cards on the Neptune line, she can go way out. And she did. And I love this because that gives me so many new impulses, so many new ideas. For the beginner, tricky, because even I have sometimes difficulty keeping track with Karen's ideas. So with Tanja, we want to start on the other side of the spectrum and really ask beginners questions. So that's what we decided to do. Tanja is going to ask the questions, and I'm trying to answer them to the best of my ability, and hopefully get you excited about Cardology and what this amazing system has to offer. Tanja, before we start, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you, Helmar. So I'm heading into my 50th year, and I've been on a journey of self-discovery. I mean, as long as I've been alive, obviously, but more consciously so since the age of 19. So I've always been fascinated by any type of external source that could help me learn more about myself. People enjoy astrology, tarot, the Mayan, the Mayan work has helped me tremendously. And I'm also so interested in human behavior and our human relationships as mirrors of ourselves, and so personal growth and development, but a deep, deep curiosity. I have a deep curiosity. It seems insatiable. And so when I met you in Cape Town and you were talking about Cardology, it was obviously interesting to me. And I had a major breakthrough in my own development, understanding just my karma card. And, being in relationship, and then that just, it's as if, and I didn't have deep enough understanding of it, but your explanation had given me just enough of the texture of what that card represented in my spread that I was able to pick it up in kind of a dynamic that was unfolding. And I'm like, there it is. And once you're able to just see it, it's almost as if it falls away. It doesn't require anything more than awareness. And so for me, that was incredible in terms of seeing how, if you can apply the knowledge, how it can liberate you. So I've then gone on to look at the people in my life and their cards, and then try and understand those dynamics. But okay, so here I am. I'm showing up as the novice, and I'm saying to you, I don't even know what you mean when you're saying planetary card or life spread, or when one card replaces another. So there's a lot of complexity, and for me, it's only relevant as far as I can apply it. So I want to slow the process down completely and ask you questions that will probably be frustrating to you, but I think they will really help the audience who want to apply this to their lives get the basic understanding.
Yeah. I'm more than happy, and it's not going to frustrate me or annoy me. I'm more than happy to answer them, because yes, in the beginning, sort of if you're knowledgeable about the system, if you've dealt with it for a number of years, and for me it's been more than 10 years now, sort of there's a certain lingo, that you use that makes perfect sense to you, but not sense to the beginner. And I'm very happy that sort of we've gathered here today to address those things. So, fire right away.
Hey,
I'm here to help.
So my first question is, How is cardology different to astrology? I mean, obviously the one is with cards and astrology, they map, right? But there seems to be some kind of an overlap. Can you explain that?
Yes, because there are elements of astrology in cardology. When we talk, for instance, about the planetary ruler is based on an astrological element. That means that a star sign or zodiac sign has a planet associated with it. So there certainly is one element. The nice thing about cardology is that it is based on something that we all know, that we almost intricately know, because all of us have played cards at some point in our time or in our life. And it's not only that, but interestingly, the system, not the system, but the playing cards have found way into our language. He is an ace. He's got an ace up his sleeve. He's playing with open cards. He's putting the cards on the table. Or as we've just witnessed a couple of weeks ago when um, uh, Donald Trump met with Vladimir Zelensky, he said to him, "You don't have the cards." We don't really notice that, but sort of it's become an integral part of our language. The other thing about cardology is that not only because of our playful association with it, but also because I think the cards are simple, easy to understand, because they're really split into three areas: the colors, the suits, the cards themselves, the pips from ace to king, and then the planets from Mercury to Neptune. So there's like three categories where you don't have an insane amount of elements. In one, you've got 4 suits, you've got 13 cards, and you've got 7 planets. So it's really easy to learn. And the entire system of cardology is just a, an infinite permutation of those 3 elements: the suits, the cards, and the planets. So that makes it easy to find an entry into it, and it makes it easy to understand it. And so much so that basically, if you just count them, 4 plus 13 plus 7 is 24. And those 24 elements give you 364 combinations. And if you like the analogy, it's like there's one day, 24 hours, and it gives you one full year of combinations. Because 4 times 13 times 7 is 364.
Yeah. So, Helmar, do you need to have kind of an understanding or kind of a baseline agreement when you're talking in the language of cardology? For instance, when we talk about karma, like somebody that is very religious might not necessarily agree with karma or even past lives or et cetera, et cetera. So how, like, what is the cosmology of cardology in order to understand the language and what it's meant to represent? Yeah, for me, for instance, the cards are almost like they're quite archetypical. So I seem to be playing in the realm of archetype and symbol when I'm interpreting what I'm getting from the cards. So yeah, so do you think that you can maybe explain kind of the languages that we are using and what it actually means? Like, you know, karma in what way? In what other ways, what other words could we use? For instance, to explain karma if somebody doesn't believe in karma?
That's very easy because karma is nothing else but cause and effect. Every cause has an effect, and every effect is a cause for yet another effect. So, in other words, something that has happened, that has set a cause, is now showing up as an effect somehow. If we don't like the effect, we need to change the cause. So karma being cause and effect doesn't mean it's fixed. It just means it's present. It makes itself felt. But we can also make itself unfelt. In other words, if we set new causes, we derive or receive new effects. So karma is just a little bit of a point of awareness for us that reminds us of something that needs to be either be cherished, if it's like positive karma, positive cause and effect, or that needs to be adjusted, corrected, improved, changed, if it's negative karma, negative cause and effect.
Yeah.
And we all have some negative karma that we've brought into our life, whether we believe in reincarnation or not. There's always something that needs changing, that needs improving, and that can also be called or described as being karmic.
Mhm.
The other thing is this. The nice thing about, if you think about it, you've got 4 suits, and in that order: hearts, clubs, diamonds, spades. Spring, summer, autumn, winter. So the sequence of the suits, hearts, clubs, diamonds, spades, represents the natural sequence that we find in nature and that we are all exposed to. Unless we, are swallows and we travel north and south, up and down all the time, because then we have like eternal summer almost. But sort of in nature, the sequence is that there's, in the beginning, there's a desire for procreation. That's hearts. Then there's an accumulation, an intellectual accumulation, an exchange taking place, communication taking place. That's summer. That's the clover leaf of the club suit. Inevitably, when you grow things, you accumulate things. And usually in autumn or in fall, we come to harvest time. And when we harvest things, we evaluate things, because not everything that has grown in the same way. So some fruits or some of our harvest may not be or not have the quality that we desire. So that's being sifted out. So inevitably in autumn comes an evaluation, and that links the diamond suit with material things and values. Because that's just normal that we evaluate things, because not everything is equal. It's all the same in a way, because it's all spiritual, but it's not equal.
Mhm.
And then in winter, then we've come to the end of that cycle, and then it's about health that we may have compromised, it's wisdom that we may have gained, it's work that needs to be done in order to prepare for the next spring season or next sowing season, etc. That's a spade suit. So in other words, in the system of the suits, you've got the connection to the natural cycle. In the system of the cards from ace to king, you've got yet another cycle, because that's the cycle from ace, the desire for something, to the mastery of that subject, hearts, clubs, diamonds, spades, that we find in the king. So it's that 7 odd cards, 7 odd cards, 6 even cards. It's that change and the application, the change and the application, the change and the application. Change is odd, movement, expansion, outward movement, and then you've got the odd, the even numbers that are applying it, that are solidifying that which you have learned. So that is almost like a mental connection. And then you've got the planets. That is like the cosmological connection from Mercury to Neptune, because everything starts out as a mental construct. And we know from Hermeticism that the universe is a mental construct. The all is a mental construct. So everything starts being a thought of sorts that we then grasp, that we then order and structure. Then we've got the planets Venus and Mars, and we know Venus is the female planet, Mars the male planet. Venus is the one, the passive female side that gathers information, and Mars is the active male dominant side that initiates, that has that warring, assertive energy. And if we play those polarities right, and we're here on this planet in order to play those polarities right, then we come into Jupiter, and Jupiter is the great benefic, because Jupiter grows what it touches. And if we play the polarities between Venus and Mars right, between the male side and the female side, then we expand things, because then we grow things, because life is dual. Life is polarizing. Life is what takes place between those two opposite poles. So Jupiter grows, Jupiter expands, but that needs to be ordered and structured. That brings us to Saturn. And people like to grow, but people don't often like the order and the structure and the discipline that Saturn requires. But Saturn wants that, needs that in order to make things a bit more predictable for us. Because once we have ordered and structured things in our mind, in our life, we can rely on them. And when we can rely on things, then we can use our mind for new endeavors. So that's absolutely necessary and crucial in the evolutionary process to create order and structure. And I mean, it's so obvious, because right now, as we sit here, we are relying on the house not, sort of the roof not falling down on us. We are relying on the internet. We are relying on the microphone, on the camera, on the screen, on the connection. We rely on the chair that we are sitting on in order to do what we want to do. So it's patently obvious. In other words, order and structure allows us to do other things. And then comes a point in Uranus. That's the next planet. That's the sixth planet. And Uranus likes to stir things up, likes to break things up, because if things become too rigid, they become anti-life. So Uranus comes in with that revolutionary Aquarian energy to stir things up, to really renew, bring in fresh energy, absolutely necessary. But it destroys things too, also part of the process. And then the seventh and last planet is Neptune. And Neptune is like far out, and Neptune is about the dream world. Neptune is about the visions. Neptune is about the ideals. So here we've got that cosmological order again, with the planets from Mercury to Neptune. And we are going through that sequence just as much as we're going through the card sequence from Ace, the desire for something, to the King, the mastery of something, as much as we go through the natural cycle in the suits, hearts, clubs, diamonds, and spades. So here we've got a fractal system. Fractal means it's self-similar. That combines a cosmological element with the planets, a human element with the cards, and a natural element with the suits. So there's a combination of that. And the way the system is designed, it pulses different combinations of the number with the suit and the planet. And that allows us to learn over time, step by step, a little bit more about the system. And then over an extended time, remove any blind spots where that we may still have on the emotional side, on the mental side, on the material side, or on the spiritual side. So, long answer to a short question. We've got a very complete system. I mean, very complete is almost like a misnomer, because if it's complete, then you don't need the very. It's complete. It's a complete hermetically sealed system that covers every single element, and that helps us in almost a playful fashion to get acquainted with those elements and then integrate them into our lives.
Wonderful. So that brings me to the question of, like, who designed this system? I mean, how ancient is it?
Well, the cards themselves, they date back to 1,000, 1,200 years ago, and when they were first devised in China. And then they found their way via Persia to Egypt, and then to Europe.
Okay.
The interpretation of that is fairly recent. So the cards were used. It's a fascinating history, because the soldiers, or probably Roman soldiers, brought it back to southern Europe, the Mediterranean area, and then into France, and then into Germany. And the soldiers played cards in between battles, when they had time to spare, because you're not fighting 24/7. So they had spare time, and then they were playing the cards. And actually, it was irking the church and the state, so they started taxing it. They started taxing the system, so much so that only once the tax was paid, the ace of spades was issued. And only with the ace of spades, the deck of cards was complete, and you could actually use it as, as a system, because the last card was added to it by paying tax. There were different systems and different symbols and different court cards, different faces on the cards. Once again, fascinating history also, that the cards became dual, that you could look at them any way around, because initially you had like full body cards, and then they only showed the upper body, but, sort of mirrored. And it was the French, for instance, who added the queen. The Germans had 3 male figures there. Okay. The French then added, the jack, which is this androgynous quality. It's in the court. It doesn't really know, does it go queen size, does it go king size or king way? But that's another subject. So basically, from China via Persia to Egypt, and then into Europe, and then over time, it basically was agreed on one symbolism. And in the court, you've got the jack, the queen, and the king. And that is just the technical aspect. The interpretational aspect of cardology, the first book that came out was in 1894, 1896, called The Mystic Test Book by Olney Richmond. He was taught that by a Frenchman, interestingly. And he published a book that explained the system, but that also diverged into other areas that are still obscure to me. But if you look at this, I mean, it's absolutely fascinating. You've got 52 cards. We've got 52 weeks. We've got 13 cards in each suit. We've got 13 moons. And 13 weeks in each season. Because 13 times 4 is 52. There's our 52 weeks again. We've got 12 court cards. 3 in each suit. We've got 12 months. If you add the values from ace 1, plus 2, plus 3, plus 4, etc., plus king 13, you have a sum of 91. It's 91, by the way, the number of steps on the Kukulkan pyramid in Chichen Itza, times 4 faces, 364. There's your solar year. As you may say, yes, we have got 365 and a quarter day. Well, we've got the Joker, and the Joker's value is 5 quarters. So 1.25. Added to the 364, there's your 365.25. And then the way they have to devise this system, I mean, that's another sort of field of exploration. It's fascinating, but just briefly. The solar value of 1 is the ace of hearts, the first card. The solar value of 52 is the king of spades, the last card. In our calendar, the solar value of 52 is the 1st of January. The solar value of 1, the ace of hearts, is the 30th of December, and they are connected by the Joker, which has a solar value of 0. Because the way the solar value is calculated is 55 minus day minus months minus months. So if you take 55 minus 31 minus 12, you arrive at 0. If you take the 55 minus 1st of January, minus day minus months, so 55 minus 3 is 52. There's your king of spades. If you take the 30th of December, 55 minus 30 minus 12, you've got 54. Solar value is 1, is your ace of hearts. So it's almost as if
Just one quick second. This is the first time I've ever heard of a solar value. Is that something unique to cardology, or is it just something I haven't come across before?
The former. It's unique to cardology because
okay. So what's the definition of solar value then?
The solar value is basically the numerical value that each of the 52 cards has. And as I just mentioned, solar value of 1 is the ace of hearts. And as we go through the heart suit, the solar value of 13 is the king of hearts.
Yeah.
Because we go hearts, clubs, diamonds, spades. So 1 to 13 is the hearts. 14 to 26 is the clubs, 27 to 40, sorry, to 39 is the diamonds, and 40 to 52 is the spades.
Okay. All right, great. So
So
then, can
yeah.
I ask then, if you were to think of kind of soul or a soul being incarnated in a human form, just in terms of ego, if you are placed, say, in spring, does that necessarily mean like you're not an old soul, you're a new soul? Or does it mean you're only starting your journey through this experience, or does it not have that kind of full meaning? Like if you are a spade, for instance, then you've done all the cycles and you're now kind of like fully
Yeah, you are.
arrived,
Yeah, that's it. You're absolutely right, because you have to differentiate between the physical season we are born into and the card that we have been given due to our day of birth. And interestingly, the spades cards only appear towards the beginning of the year, and the hearts cards only appear and become more prominent towards the end of the year. And
Okay.
certainly my interpretation, I haven't heard this anywhere else, but it's almost as if, we're starting off with on the 1st of January with the King of Spades. 2nd of January is Queen of Spades. 3rd of January is Jack of Spades, etc. So in January, the first 13 days are all spades cards. In February, the first 11 cards are all spades cards. In March, the first 9 cards are all spades cards. In April, the first 7 cards are all spades cards, etc., etc. Until I think the 1st of July is an ace of spades. So that's the last ace, as the last spades card that we find on the 1st of July. So it's almost as if we start off the year with a full deck of cards, with the highest card, with everything given to us. And it's almost as the year progresses, we lose that, and we end the year with a desire for love, with the ace of hearts. And then we almost like make this changeover. There's the New Year's Eve with the Joker, and the 1st of January we start over again with the highest card. We ended with the lowest card. We've got the Joker in between, connecting the two, and then the 1st of January is the highest card. So almost as if we like, by divine providence or whatever, we've been given everything that we need to make to successfully conduct the year, but we end up again with love, the desire for love,
Yeah. The longing
the longing.
for
Yes,
oneness.
yes. And interestingly, the cards are not distributed evenly. We have more clubs and diamonds cards than we have spades and hearts cards.
We
But
have more clubs, diamonds, than we have spades and hearts.
yeah, if you divide 364 by 4, right? How much is that?
You're the mathematician. Yeah, you do it.
91, of course. So you would think that
fine.
you would have 91 cards, but the solar values are not distributed evenly. So you don't have 91 hearts cards. You've got about 40 odd heart cards, and you've got 40 odd spades cards, and you've got more than 140 clubs cards and diamonds cards.
Okay.
I mean,
So what does that mean? What does that mean if you were to interpret that?
that humankind is more focused on communication, on exchange, and on values than it is on wisdom, which is a spade suit, and on love, which is the heart suit. So you could be born, to answer your question, you could be born into the spring season, but have a spades cards. And as a spades cards, you've gone through the hearts evolutionary wise. You've gone through the hearts, the clubs, and the diamonds, and now you're on the spades side. And then there's life on Earth doesn't interest you that much anymore. I mean, if I can say that, because in your evolutionary cycle, you've arrived at the last suit. And you could be born, I mean, you were born, when you're born like in December, the latter part of December, you're certainly a hearts card. So you're in winter in a way, which is like spade season in the northern hemisphere, but sort of your desire, your all around love, all around communion, relationships. That is your feelings. That is the overarching theme of the heart suit.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so when you end up in spades, then are you kind of, okay, I'm done with this evolutionary process, and you just ascend and that's it?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Okay. So then for myself as a queen of clubs, then I'm pretty new to this evolutionary process.
Not necessarily. I mean, sort of queen of clubs is like has a solar value of 25, so you're like almost halfway through, so to say.
Okay. And for yourself, you are
I'm a five of
five.
diamonds.
Okay. So then that would mean, so we were talking about it's like the challenge and then the implementation. Are those the right words I'm using? And so like there's the constant up and down of integration of the lessons learned,
Yeah,
right? You were
yeah.
saying in the beginning. So is that in the suits as well as in the odd and even numbers? Do you find, or is it only in the odd and even numbers that there's the integration is on an odd number?
No,
Or is
the
the
integration
integration?
is on the even number. The learning, the expansion, the accumulation is on or not. Well, the accumulation on the mental side, or conceptually, is on the odd numbers, and then the integration, the solidification, the order and the structure is on the even numbers. If
Okay.
funny enough, just as much because I was referring to the Kukulkan pyramid in Chichen Itza, the
Yes.
Mayan calendar, the
Yes.
solar calendar, has 13 tones.
Yes.
And they've got 7 days and 6 nights. The days they were learning, the nights they were applying. And they would always start with a day, which means movement and odd number 1, and they would always finish with a day, which is the 13th tone, which is once again an odd tone. So in between, they've got
Yeah.
6 periods where they apply it, the nights, the black ones, and they had red for the day, the 7 periods where they would learn, gather more, expand, basically. And it's always like this, sort of, once again, totally obvious. Our heart goes out, in, out, in. We inhale, we exhale. We inhale, we exhale.
Yes.
And that's just like expansion, contraction, expansion, contraction, expansion, contraction. That's life. And the Mayans
Yeah.
actually sort of put this into their 13 turns and their 20 signs. And here we've got
Yeah.
the cards with those 13 cards in those 4 suits, which we connect to the natural cycle and then amplify that or enhance that through the 7 planets.
Yeah. So what I've seen is that kind of if you happen to have a card, so what do we call the card that your birthday card? What do we call that?
That's your birth card. That's
Okay, so
the
when
birth
you
card.
come in
Yeah.
with that is an uneven number, it's almost like, oh, that's going to be a hard one. Is that right?
No, it's not hard. It's just that sort of you are more here to learn. Sort of it's odd numbers or uneven numbers are those that expand, those that have that outward movement because they want to make or have more experiences. It's about expansion. It's about learning, and often like aces and fives, they're quite self-centered. There's me, myself, and I, because it's like I want to learn. I'm going out there because I want to enhance my understanding of love, or enhance my understanding of knowledge, of communication, or enhance my understanding of values, or enhance my understanding of spiritual concepts.
Mm.
It's not more difficult. You could have, and it's interesting because I've just, as you know, concluded recording over 150 or 156 videos, 3 each for the 52 cards, and I've learned so much, and I found out so many interesting things. For instance, a very strong card like an 8 of spades. The 8 of spades only has odd cards in its planetary sequence. So you've got a very solid card. 8s are power cards, and that the spade suit is very strong because it's earth, it's winter, it's wisdom, it's spirituality, it's health. So very strong base card, and on its life path, it only encounters odd cards. And there's other cards that are odd cards that only encounter even cards on its life path. And ideally, as with everything in life, you want to keep a balance. Says the Libra here. You want to keep everything in balance, because then it is really balanced, because you don't want to go extreme. Because if you go extreme one way or the other way, then things become anti-life, then things become problematic. So if you only have odd cards, that's as challenging as or just as challenging as having only even cards, because even cards means not enough movement, odd cards means too much movement.
Yes. Yeah. So the
and
spread of cards.
you being a queen of clubs, you've got a 10 of spades as your Mercury card, and then you encounter your 5 of clubs, your 3 of diamonds, your ace of spades, your 7 of hearts, your 7 of diamonds, your 5 of spades, your jack of hearts. Then you encounter all the odd cards. So in other words, you need to understand with your mind, with your strong mind, spiritually inclined 10 of spades power card, manifestation card, how to handle all those odd sequences that follow in your life path.
It makes complete sense. I mean, really it does. So something that we were recently talking about is how do we navigate kind of the concepts of free will and destiny when it comes to a spread? And we started off with me saying, like, my first breakthrough was really understanding my karma card, and it liberated me. So in a lifetime, a human lifetime, are we seeking to understand all the cards? Or is it more than enough for us to work within our own spread?
Well, in the way the system works, you get in touch with all the other cards anyway. Because you don't just have your let me explain. And for that, I'm going to change something quickly. I'm going to remove this and I add that. So Tanja is gone for a second. Let me see if I can get Tanja back. Where's Tanja?
Yeah, I'm gone.
No, Tanja is gone, and you've moved to the wrong side. Okay, let me see if I can get Tanja edited, and we just.
And I just put my video off. Maybe that will help you.
No. I don't know why it's. I've just done this. Okay, hold on. New layout. Give me a second. There we are. There's Tanja, and there's the spread. Right. Okay. So on the right hand side here, you see the so-called natural spread. So just for people who are completely new to this, in this system, you see all 52 cards. And you see, if you look at it, it's pretty obvious, sort of once you spend a minute on it, that there is an order to it. It starts at the top right, and it goes across from the ace of hearts to the top left, which is the 7 of hearts, and then it continues on the next line. And you see with the lines and the columns are labeled, so you always read from top to bottom and from right to left. And there are your planets from Mercury to Neptune, and those are 7 planets. So Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune. Then 7 by 7 is 49, but we've got 52 cards, and the remaining 3 cards are sitting at the top on the so-called crown line. In this natural spread, this is God's plan. Everything is in order. It starts with the hearts, and it starts with the ace of hearts, solar value of 1. And it goes through the hearts, it goes through the clubs, it goes through the diamonds, it goes through the spades, ends at the bottom, double Neptune with a 10 of spades at the bottom left, and then has the 3 spades court cards in the so-called crown line right at the top. There's our 52 cards. This is God's plan where everything is in order. Hearts, clubs, diamonds, spades, and ace to king in every suit. Makes perfect sense, because from the desire of love to the mastery of love, from the desire for knowledge to the mastery of knowledge, from the desire of worth, of values, ace of diamonds, to the mastery of values, king of diamonds, from the desire for wisdom, ace of spades, to the highest card, the king of spades, the master of everything, so to say. So everything is in order. That's the natural spread. Now comes a cardological special, so to say, what actually makes up cardology, because now you see that this spread has changed, and it's called the mundane spread. The mundane spread still adheres to the same system: 7 rows, seven columns, 3 cards in the crown line, but now the cards, they're almost like, they look as if they have changed. You know, everything's like shuffled, but they've shuffled according to a specific order, and this order is being adhered to as we go to the next spread, and the next spread, and the next spread, because with our cards we move every year, and we have not only do we find ourselves in a different position, but we always also find ourselves with different cards, which is now a speciality. And I want to show something else. I'm going to do this quickly because I'm going to share something. Let's do this. That's always fun, because when we look at this, it always makes more sense. Right. Let me add this to the stage, and let's put myself and thing in the corner. Let's do this away. Okay. So here, I must zoom out. I've just created this thing with a bit of help of my friend ChatGPT. So here you see the spread, and here you see the spiritual spread. You know, sort of there's the ace of hearts, and there's the 7 of hearts, and the 8 of hearts to the king of hearts. Then there's the clubs, and then the diamonds, and then the spades to the 10 of spades, and the jack, queen, and king of spades at the crown line. Now check if I click on mundane spread. Now those cards you will see is beautifully yeah.
Sorry, just a quick. So the natural spread and the spiritual spread is the same thing. Those words are interchangeable.
No, they're not. Because the natural spread is God's plan. It's a natural order. In the natural spread, the mundane spread, or worldly spread or distribution, as you can see if I click on this now, things change. You see?
Yeah. No, so my question is, earlier you showed what was called the natural spread, and now I see the word.
That's
so
this
the
one.
natural and spiritual is the same spread. It's not a difference.
The natural and the spiritual spread is the same, yes. The mundane or worldly is the other one. That's this one.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
So let me just see if I see the same thing. Okay, it's a bit small because I want to show everything. But you see between the spiritual and the mundane spread that certain cards changes. But watch check the king of spades at the top left. It doesn't change. Check the jack of hearts. Doesn't change. Check the 8 of clubs. Doesn't change. Even if I go forward the years, check the king of spades, the jack of hearts, and the 8 of clubs. They never change. No matter which year I'm in, which I see at the bottom left here, whether my step or my year, they never change. Check the 9 of hearts here and the 7 of diamonds here. Double Venus, Venus line, Venus column, and Saturn line, Saturn column. Look at this. 7 of diamonds, 9 of hearts. One forward, 9 of hearts, 7 of diamonds. So they just switch position, and the same with the 2 of hearts and the ace of clubs. We're going into like almost advanced. They just change position. So in other words, the system has 52 cards. 3 cards never change, no matter which spread you're on, which is the king of spades, jack of hearts, and 8 of clubs. And 2 pair of cards, 2 of hearts and ace of clubs, and 9 of hearts and 7 of diamonds, they just switch position. And the other 45 remaining cards, they follow each other. And that following each other can also display it in a circle, because they follow each other. There's a beginning, there's an end, and they just go around. So if we take your card.
What is that? Can we just pause for a second? I want to try and understand this. So the 3 cards that never change, you said that very fast. Can you say that what they are again?
The 3 cards that never change are so-called, because they never change their position, are fixed cards.
Yeah, what are they?
The king of spades.
Okay.
here, the Jack of
Yeah.
Hearts here,
Okay.
and the Eight of Clubs here.
Okay.
And this again, and we've got those two pairs, the Ace of Clubs and the Two of Hearts. And you can see after the below the Ace of Clubs, there's like two of Hearts. And those are, we were talking about karma cards. Karma in the context of cardology means you are displacing a card, you are pushing a card aside, and you are being pushed aside by a card. Because look at the spiritual spread. Here, that's the place that belongs to the Two of Hearts. But in the mundane spread, the Ace of Clubs has placed itself there. There we go. Take another example. Here, take the Five of Hearts. The Five of Hearts displaces the Four of Diamonds, because where's the Four of Diamonds? Here. Here. Check this. If I go there, then the Five of Hearts moves in that position. And the Five of Hearts itself is displaced by the Five of Clubs, because where the Five of Hearts sits, normally, in the mundane spread, the Five of Clubs all of a sudden sits here. Okay. So in other words, there's a displacement, a pushing aside, a replacing element taking place between the spiritual spread and the mundane spread. Because the system is the same. We have 52 cards. We've got the same matrix, 7 by 7 plus 3. So in other words, no card is lost. It's just that cards go into a different position. So in the spiritual spread where I might have to reset this. The spiritual spread where you had the Five of Hearts, all of a sudden you have a Five of Clubs sitting there. And where the Four of Diamonds normally sits, like here, that's where the Five of Hearts sits in the mundane spread. So as you see, I mean, it's animated. They change. They just change position. And this changing of position and displacing creates karma. So in other words, to finish the sentence, in the mundane spread where you are with your birth card, you are the Queen of Clubs. In the spiritual spread, there's the Three of Hearts. So you displace the Three of Hearts in the mundane spread, and you are being displaced in the spiritual spread by the Ten of Diamonds. You can see the Ten of Diamonds has a first karma card of the Queen of Clubs, because in the spiritual spread, your place, your true place, is the double Jupiter position. Yeah. So the Queen of Clubs has a Three of Hearts as a first karma card and has a Ten of Diamonds as a second karma card. So here, because remember, you are now here, you've displaced the Three of Hearts, and in your true place, there's a Ten of Diamonds. So you owe something to the card that you've displaced, in your case, the Three of Hearts, and you get supportive energy from the card that displaces you, which is the Ten of Diamonds. And this is true. I mean, I'm a Five of Diamonds. I displace the Nine of Diamonds because in the spiritual spread, that's where the Nine of Diamonds sits. And here's my true place. And this is in the mundane spread, I am being displaced by the Three of Clubs. There's a Three of Clubs. So I get supportive energy from the card of the written and the spoken word, the author's card. And I owe something to the Nine of Diamonds, which means with the Five of Diamonds being fluctuating values, the Nine of Diamonds means being generous with values, ending values. Frustration and disappointments, 9, with in the realm of diamonds, in the realm of value and money. Yeah. So in other words,
one card that is there one card in the spread, in the mundane spread, that is just like, geez, this is the hardest card to be? Or is that always just subjective?
That is very subjective, because each card has a high side and a low side. And your consciousness is aware, ideally aware, of both the high side and the low side. It addresses the low side if that low side manifests itself in your life, and it tries to bring more of the high side into your life. Each card is dual, as everything is dual. It works beautifully in English. Everything is dual. Everything is relative, which means not a single thing is absolute, because the definition of a thing is that it's relative. It's relative to something else. day and night, up and down, hot and cold, rich and poor, etc.
Mhm. Mhm.
So here, just to get back and to wrap this up, we've got two spreads, which is the one spread where everything is in order, which follows the sequence. So if we got hearts, clubs, diamonds, and spades, and we follow the sequence of Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune in the rows and in the columns, and we've got the sequence from the ace to the king in each of the suits. So this is like a 2D representation of a three-dimensional system, fractal system. And then between the spiritual spread and the mundane spread, there's a so-called quadration process. So in other words, you start off with the cards. I'm going to show you, and I'm going to sort of let me make us big for a second. Always have a deck of cards with me here. So you start with a deck of cards with the ace of hearts. There's a deck of cards here, right? There's a stack, 52 cards. The top card in the natural order is the ace of hearts. The bottom card is the king of spades. And in between, you start with the ace of hearts, two of hearts, three of hearts, four of hearts, five of hearts, etc., etc. You go through the hearts and then sort of the clubs, ace of clubs, two of clubs, and so forth, and so on. And then comes the diamonds, ace to king, then comes the spades, ace to king. And then this stack of cards is distributed in a particular fashion. You basically create 4 heaps, and then the cards are distributed, then they're recombined, and then they're distributed again according to a particular fashion, and then you've got another deck of cards once again. But then, and I can't show you, show it to you unless I distribute the cards, I quadrate the cards. Then the top card is no longer let's go back here. Hold on. The top card no longer is the ace of hearts, but the three of hearts. The top card would then be the three of hearts. The second card would be the ace of clubs. The third card would be the queen of clubs. The fourth card would be the 10 of spades, etc., etc. So basically, the cards are redistributed, and if you put them according to the same planetary matrix there, this is what you would end up with.
And who created the quadration process? I mean, is that also 12,000 years old, or is it?
No, that is recent, because that is occult knowledge. They created this quadration process with exact knowledge of the movement of the planets and stars, and that is pretty much all I know. There is not much well, according to my knowledge, there isn't anything else out there that explains that process. It's basic, but you see, you have God's plan, and then you created basically man's distortion of God's plan. And the same quadration process is then also applied to that mundane distribution. And then we arrive at year 2, or technically it's year one. One is our birth year, the mundane distribution. There we've got a card. And then in the next year, we have moved according to the karma cards, because we follow the first karma card, and the second karma card takes our position. I mean, maybe I should show this again, because this is quite nice to see. I'm going to go back and make this a bit bigger. Right. So let's take the spiritual spread. You're a queen of clubs. This is your true place in this spiritual spread. In the mundane spread, you've said, okay, I want to be born into this Mercury and Mars conjunction with your queen of clubs. You're following the three of hearts, right? Because this is your first karma card. Where's the three of hearts? Oh, we actually have it in view. It's here. So in your birth year, you sit here. When you're 1 year old, you sit there. Let's move forward 1 year. Whoop. Queen of clubs moves there. Where is the 3 of hearts gone to? The 3 of hearts is displacing the ace of hearts. So it's gone there where the ace of hearts was sitting. And you can see with the next year, because the 3 of hearts is displacing the ace of hearts, that for the next year, the 3 of hearts just moves there, and you with your queen of clubs move here. Let's go back, let's go forward 1 year. 3 of hearts moves, queen of clubs sits here. In your next year, you're displacing the 3 of hearts, you make that movement. There you are. Where's the 3 of hearts gone to? There it is. Next year, that's where you sit. Bam. So this is the sequence of those 45 odd cards, because the 45, sorry, not the 45 odd cards, the 45 mutable cards, because they cannot touch the positions of the fixed and the semi-fixed cards, because they're occupied, obviously by king of spades, jack of hearts, ace of clubs, and the 2 semi-fixed pairs. So those positions are occupied, permanently occupied, and the 45 cards cannot reach them. So they just follow this pattern around the spread. And then we could add the next element to this, because it's not just that you move to different positions, but you as a queen of clubs, for instance, you've got 7 planetary cards ahead of you from right to left and top to bottom. So your Mercury card is a 10 of spades. Your Venus card is a 5 of clubs. Your Mars card is a 3 of diamonds. Your Jupiter card is an ace of spades. Your Saturn card is a 7 of hearts. Your Uranus card is a 7 of diamonds. Your Neptune card is a 5 of spades. And your Pluto card for lifelong transformation is the Jack of hearts. And that already points to issues with the relationships, because you're not only displacing the 3 of hearts, but you've got a 7 of hearts in Saturn, and you've got a Jack of hearts in Pluto. So for any Queen of Clubs birth card, they've got relationship issues to deal with. And if you then sort of,
when you say relationship issues to deal with,
because of the
what does it mean?
That is the conclusion. That is the conclusion of a specific card in a specific position. Because number one, you're displacing the 3 of hearts, and the 3 of hearts, you owe that 3 of hearts something. The 3 of hearts on the low side is the card of indecision in love, or the worry of not having enough love, not getting enough love. And the solution to this is obviously give the love to yourself first. Don't expect it from others. Your second hearts card is a 7 of hearts. The 7 of hearts, the card of spiritual love. Spiritual 7, love, hearts. On the low side, it's the card of losses on the emotional side. This is your Saturn card. Your Saturn position is the position that teaches you something, where you have to learn something, and where you often find yourself professionally, because that's where you have to learn the most. So you've got that card in that learning position, which is a card of emotional losses. And then you've got the Jack of hearts in Pluto, I've only mentioned 7, but Pluto is the next sequence. It's the 8th card. And that's our lifelong it's a lifelong subject. So your lifelong transformational subject is sacrifice in love, which is what the Jack of hearts represents. And for other cards, they've got different interpretations. But for the Queen of Clubs, it's very obvious because of the 3 of hearts first karma card, the 7 of hearts in Saturn, and the Jack of hearts in Pluto.
So accurate, eh? And
it's
what happened
Tanja,
with you?
It's scary.
Well, you know what I found scary is that we think that we know and we believe that we're so unique, right? The fact that anybody born on my birthday, it doesn't matter what year it is even, that they will have the same response to this information. To me, that is just insane.
Well, you've got 7 billion people on this planet, or maybe 6. I don't know how many we've got. Or they say 8. I don't think we've got that many, but that's another subject. but that all those billions of people can be categorized or slotted into 52, or with the Joker 53 categories.
Yeah. Wow, it's
Th-
phenomenal.
It
But I
is,
had a quick question
yeah.
before we move on, because you've changed the screen, but I can remember the question without looking at it. What happens if your birth card happens to be one of the fixed cards? Because
Well,
how do you, if it's fixed, how do you follow the next card? How does that work?
well, you yourself don't change position, right? Because let's say take the King of Spades as an example. You yourself don't change position, but because the other cards change position in the next year, you will have different cards. Okay, King of Spades, we remember. Three of Hearts, let's say this is the mundane spread. So this is your life spread, so to say. This is your, for the King of Spades. I mean, this is another element. Once again, each of those 7 cards from Mercury to Neptune represent 13 years, because after 91 quadrations, you arrive back at the starting point. And if you want to just follow this quickly, we are at step 1, bottom left here. And if we move forward 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, and if we go now, check this, at year 45, actually 46 is the 45th quadration. At year 40, the 45th quadration, from the mundane spread, you once again have your mundane spread, with the exception, because it's an odd number, 45, although it says 46 at the bottom, is 46 step. The semi-fixed cards are switched, but otherwise after 45 years is half time, and then you're again at the mundane spread, with the exception of the semi-fixed cards. So 3 of Hearts, not Ace of Clubs, but 2 of Hearts, but 10 of Clubs, 10 of Spades, 5 of Clubs, etc. So the spread is identical, with the exception of those 2 semi-fixed pairs. And if we then move forward and you go to 90, 70, 80, 90, we have to go back. Sorry, we have to go back, not 10, but forward 10 and back. Bear with me. There we go. Here at step 90, you are at the natural or spiritual distribution. And at step 91, you're once again at the mundane distribution.
So does that mean that, so if it's 90, is that on your 89th birthday then, that you will be in your spiritual spread?
That's correct.
That's
That's correct.
So
When you
okay.
when you turn
How do you interpret what that would feel like?
Well, it depends on which card you've got. I mean, so if you're a Queen of Clubs, so your birthday is the first time that you're sitting in your true place, which is your double Jupiter. So when you turn, it's actually the step. This is the step 91. So it's like, yeah, when you first year, 90th year, not 89. That's your 90th year. That's it.
So, I mean, would that feel like heaven?
Well, it's you're in your true place, and for you as a Queen of Clubs, you would being the first time in your true place, which is that the Jupiter line and the Jupiter column. It's like a very blessed year for you, and you will see that stuff. Your Mercury period starts out with the King of Clubs, and then your Venus period is an Ace of Diamonds, and then the Mars period is a Two of Diamonds, and then Three of Diamonds, Four of Diamonds, Five of Diamonds, Six of Diamonds. So it's a very values-oriented or based or heavy year for you as a Queen of Clubs. And what I forgot to mention is, when we look at our mundane spread at our birth position, we take you again as an example, and I mentioned that each of those 7 planets stand for 13 years. 7 times 13 is 91. Okay, but it also, for each subsequent year, it stands for 7 52-day periods. So if you go forward a year, then you've got a 52 days Mercury, Two of Hearts, 52 days Venus, 10 of diamonds. 52 days, Mars, Queen of hearts for you now with that Queen of clubs. So you go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 planetary periods, and then your year is over. So every year you move through the planetary sequence from Mercury to Neptune. Every 13 years you change. Those 13 years, your first 13 years are governed by the 10 of spades. Your next 13 years from 13 to 26 are governed by the 5 of clubs. Until 39, 3 of diamonds. Until 52, ace of spades. Until 65, 7 of hearts. Until 78, 7 of diamonds. Until 91, 5 of spades. So this is the fractal. It's like a Matryoshka doll. It's like one period within another, and they're all self-similar. So this is not just it's also the first week of the year. So if you start off with the 10 of spades day, the 10 of spades for the first 52 days, the 10 of spades for the first year, the 10 of spades for the first 7 years, the 10 of spades for the first 13 years. That's a bit much, but I'm saying it's like a small cycle inside a bigger cycle, inside a bigger cycle, inside a bigger cycle, inside a bigger cycle, inside a bigger cycle. That's what I mean with the Matryoshka doll. One small doll, bigger one, bigger one, bigger one, bigger one, bigger one.
So, all right, I'm just looking at the time so that we maybe make this concise and helpful. For beginners, what do you think is the best way to kind of anchor in the knowledge? It obviously would be around your own card, your birth card, right?
It would it would be your birth card. However, the long-term goal is all 52 cards. So if you want to split this up once again, we've got 52 weeks. Take one card, learn everything you can about it for 1 week, and after the end of the year, you know the system by heart. Take your birth card because that's the closest to you. The other cards may not have immediate relevance. Take your birth card and your birth sequence. Find your solar value, 55 minus day, minus month, minus month. I've just deleted this solar value coming. $55 minus day minus month minus month. Okay, so this is how you calculate the solar value. And once again, the first 13 cards are the hearts cards. Solar value of 1 is the ace of hearts. There's only one birthday for the ace of hearts. It's the 30th of December. There's no other ace of hearts. There's no other 2 of hearts, 29th of December. 14 to 26 are the clubs cards. 27 to 40 are the diamonds cards. 41 to 52 are the spades cards. And then find your card on the mundane spread. It's somewhere. Find it. Look it up. Hold on, need to remove this. So on the mundane spread, somewhere you will find your birth card. It's somewhere. And then you can already, this is where it helps to have a little bit of astrological knowledge. Because, for instance, as I mentioned before, you are born into a Mercury-Mars conjunction. I am, with my 5 of diamonds, born into a Saturn-Neptune conjunction, because here's the 5 of diamonds. And look at them, all cards on the Uranus line. So these people can cause a stink. These people like to change things constantly. And look at that. And so this is like a bit of an ego boost, but it shouldn't be, because it's quite a challenge. There's only the 5 of diamonds. The 5 of diamonds is the only card that has in its planetary sequence from Mercury to Neptune 4 court cards. Queen of spades in the beginning, Jack of clubs in Venus, King of clubs in Uranus, and Jack of diamonds in Neptune. There is not a single other card that has in its planetary sequence 4 court cards. And you see with the 5 of diamonds, other than the Queen of clubs, there are absolutely no hearts cards. And the 5 of diamonds is displacing a 9 of diamonds and is being displaced by a 3 of clubs. So you see that lovely 5 of diamonds has a bit of a challenge in the hearts department because it's not being given that. And you've got a challenge in the hearts department, even though you've got hearts cards.
Exactly. All right. So for us newbies, we go and we learn about the card, one card a week for a year, and then we understand kind of the archetype of that card. And then
if you want to go that far, but this is like just like an easy way of like say, look, we've got 52 cards, we've got 52 days, 52 weeks, take a card, occupy yourself with that for a week, one by one, and then after 1 year, the entire deck of cards. But you want to start with your birth card. And I said, look at the conjunction. Let's say the 5 of diamonds has a Saturn Neptune conjunction, which means there's that way out Neptunian energy, that dreamy, visionary energy. And then there's Saturn that says, I need order and structure. And they couldn't be further apart. And that also already points to the massive challenges the 5 of diamonds has in its life. Yeah. And for you, it's Mercury and Mars. Mercury is the mind. Mercury is about communication. Mars is about the aggressive, assertive, driving energy. Yeah. So look at your birth card, learn about your birth card. That keeps you busy for a while. Learn about the card you're displacing because you owe something to that card. Learn about the card that is placing you because you get supportive energy from that card. So in other words, the 5 of diamonds, all the knowledge, all the values that I'm seeking as a 5 of diamonds, I have to pass on 9 of diamonds. Where do I get support from? From the card that is the card of the written and the spoken word. I've translated books. I've written my own books. I've recorded in my life probably 600-700 videos by now, on all subjects, cardology subjects. My cardology channel now has 200 videos since May. So it's like, this is my forte. This is where I get supportive energy. 3 of clubs, Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And then look at the next stage, you look at your planetary cards. Look at your Mercury card, your Venus card, sort of again from your birth card to the right, to the left, and then down again, right to left, top to down. Look at those 7 cards, and they show you 13-year periods. If you're 25, you're in your Venus period. If you're 38, you're in your in your Mars period. If you're 48, you are sort of heading towards the end of your Jupiter period. Look at your Jupiter card. Look at what it means. Because that 13-year period is being governed by that card, and you should make the most of it in that the high quality of that card. Example, I've got a 2 of clubs in Saturn. I'm in my Saturn period from 52 to 65, those 13 years. And the 2 of clubs is the card of the psychologist, the card of union, one-on-one, in the realm of knowledge, communication, intellect. So what I'm doing with you is 2 of clubs energy. What I'm doing with my coaching is 2 of clubs energy. I only started coaching when I entered about like 52, plus minus. See, I moved into that and I made best use of that. Well, best is relative, but I connected to that energy. I shouldn't have done anything else.
Yeah. So what is my period now? Am I still in my Jupiter period?
You are 49. Right? Yeah. So you've got until you've got 49. So you're in your 50th year. You've got your 50th. You've got your 51st year, and you've got your 52nd year. So when you're 51 to 52, that's your 52nd year. So you've got 3 years of Jupiter energy. And your Jupiter card is the Ace of Spades. That
So what does
means,
that do?
well, that's it. It's the Jupiter, the Ace of Spades is the desire. It's the first card of the spade suit. It's the desire for wisdom. So what you're doing with me now is Ace of Spades energy, because you're desiring wisdom and you're connecting to people who are helping you become more wise. It's not just me, it's others as well. It's that energy. And it's taking the initiative. It's being creative. It's the card of secrets. So the more you learn about the secrets of the universe, and what you said initially when we started our session, so you're curious. Stay curious for the next 3 years. Because when you move into your Saturn period, you move into the Seven of Hearts. Then it's more about emotions, more about spiritual love. And that's when you use the wisdom gained through that Ace of Spades period in your Seven of Hearts period. Because it's like spiritual love. It's the love that you've given yourself, because now it's beautiful, Tanja. I mean, it's the way just it falls into place. You've had so many issues, problems on the relationship side. Now you're connecting to the spiritual side, and you're finding the answers to your emotional challenges. And then it becomes, your love becomes more spiritual because you've developed so much love for yourself, which is what the Seven of Hearts is about. Seven goes inwards, and the heart is about emotional subjects. So you are seeking the love within yourself, and then because the seven is a spiritual number, because it's the three, the spiritual three, and the earthly four. So it's the combination of those. So you are able to connect to the spiritual realm when it comes to the hearts, the element, and then you're passing this on to other people, because Saturn is the teaching card.
Beautiful, eh? I mean, we couldn't get it wrong even if we tried. So I think what this shows us is that we're on the right track. We're doing what we're meant to be doing, and life is a beautiful gift.
No, it is, and that's the nice thing about cardology is that it helps us find out our individual rhythm. And this is because it's our individual rhythm, it's ours. It's got nothing to do with politics, it's got nothing to do with religion, got nothing to do with our social upbringing, our social environment that sort of we find ourselves experiences life in. It's got nothing to do with any of that. It is our tact, it is our rhythm, it's our pulsation through that. It's the different energies that we are exposed to at different periods in our life. And this is what we have to find out. Temple of Delphi says, Gnotis eaton, know thyself. Find out who you are. Find out the rhythm, not just who you are in terms of your birth, but find out the rhythm that you're entering into due to your birth card. Because your birth card shows you your position, and it shows you where you're going to next. Because just as much as you follow the Three of Hearts, I follow the Nine of Diamonds. So you can see where the Three of Hearts sits in the spread. That's where you will be next year. So you have a crystal ball into the future. Beautiful.
It is absolutely beautiful. Helmar, thank you so much for learning all about this so that you're able to help us, because it seems like there's a bit of a translation process, because it's very, very complex, it seems, and yet you've made it so accessible. So thank you for all your effort and your teachings online. They are insane.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. I mean, this is, I guess this is my task. So that I've been working on the Master Key system for the last 18 years, and I've done pretty much the same with that. Added content, made it accessible, made it understandable for people. And the beautiful thing is that the Master Key system explains natural laws, so it's abstract, it's universally applicable. It applies to all of us, and the cards now apply to the individual. And the two combined, once again, you could say male, female, as active, passive side, but those two form a union. And with the knowledge of the master key, you've got the master key that unlocks all doors. In other words, you know how to do it. So you've got the power. And with the cards, you've got the eyes. In other words, you know, not only know how to do it, but you know, with the cards, you know you know what to do and when to do it, because it's not always the right time for a certain thing. And the cards show you for what is the right time. And going back right to the beginning, you only need to know 24 elements, four suits, 7 planets, 13 cards. So you can take 2 days, 12 hours each, acquaint yourself with one card, because the card is the same within the suit, the same quality. All aces are the same, but they differ in the suit. All fives are the same, they differ in the suit. So learn about the ace, up to the king, learn about the suits, learn about the planets. Those 24 elements is all you need to really know in order to create the combinations.
Beautiful. Okay. So I'd love to chat with you again. And what I'll do is I'm going to go and learn exactly what you've told me to do now, or told us to do now. And then perhaps I'll have another set of questions that can deepen my knowledge from there.
That's the inevitable result of of diving in, of learning more, because you'll come up with more questions. And the beautiful thing is there'll be more answers. And again, your birth card is just a starting point. You know, it's just a starting point that sets you off on your journey. But ideally, you would like to acquaint yourself with all the other cards and the planetary influences, in order to live a sovereign, empowered, and fulfilling life. Because then, once again, you do not have any black spots anymore, or blind spots anymore, because you know how to handle the heart suit as much as the club suit, as much as the diamond suit, as much as the spade suit. So I'm looking forward to your questions. And as we dive deeper,
Yeah. Thank you so much.
it's a pleasure. So let's finish this off. Thank you, dear Tanya, for all the lovely beginners questions, allowing me to help you who are watching, or who is watching this video right now, to understand a little better what cardology is about and what awaits you, and how this system is, like all the other systems, hermetically sealed, which means it is in itself complete. And the system of cardology is beautifully complete because it's very simple, it's very easy to understand, even though those spreads, those matrices may look a little bit intimidating in the beginning. And really, the wealth of interpretation can be quite overwhelming. But the nice thing is, no matter where you start, it certainly helps you become more rounded and become more empowered, and helps you make sovereign and educated decisions in your life. And that leads me to the last thing. The nice thing is that you can't just do this for yourself, you can also do this for other people, which means cardology helps you to get other people, or to learn more about other people, to get that, to get to know them better. And this way, me speaking as a Libra again, you can create harmony, because they are on a different life path and they are at a different stage in their life that is not yours. And the understanding of their life path and the quality that they are sitting in at the moment helps you to help them, if they're not aware of it, to become more successful, to become more harmonious, to become healthier, etc. So it's really, really a beautiful system that uplifts and elevates mankind.
Absolutely, it does.
You know,
Thank you.
so it's a pleasure. The trailer follows, and we'll say goodbye. And thank you very much, dear Tanya. I wish you a lovely Sunday. That's the day of our recording. And see you in the next live stream. Certainly looking very much forward to it.
Thank you, Helmut.